After Spurs losing the North London derby last night, the last thing them Spurs fans probably wanted to see was Sol Campbell on an advert throwing out innuendos about his move from Spurs to Arsenal. At 2-1 down, the way that game was going, they were getting battered like a bit of fish on a Friday night down your local chippy. They probably thinking, Joe, what? I'm turning this over. I can't watch no more of this. And I don't blame them. The way they set up, they were setting up to lose that game. So they, turned over the channel and thought, yeah, whatever. I'll rather watch something a bit more competitive, like Come Dine With Me. So they're sitting there watching Come Dine With Me or the usual boring midweek television, because anything beats watching Spurs getting battered by Arsenal. And, I understand that. And then the adverts come on, the poor Spurs fans. The adverts come on and they see Sol Campbell in an advert rubbing his transfer in their faces while selling a Google Pixel phone.
It's that time of year again. A time when people start to wonder if the grass might be greener.
So not only is it that time of year again when Spurs turn up to the Arsenal Stadium, the Emirates Stadium, for their annual beating in the Premier League, because they haven't beaten Arsenal in the Prem for 15 seasons. It's that time of year again, according to Sol Campbell, where people start to wonder if the grass is always greener. And in Sol Campbell's case, the grass was a lot more greener than it was at Spurs.
Whether they should switch sides and change allegiances, take it from me. Big moves pay off.
The last thing Spurs fans want to see is Sol Campbell dusting his trophies, because the only thing dusted at the Tottenham Stadium is the trophy cabinet itself with nothing in it. So while Spurs are getting absolutely harassed and dominated at the Emirates Stadium last night, they've got to see Sol Campbell dusting his trophies, telling everyone that trust him, big moves pay off.
Sure, people will have opinions. Who cares what people think?
Of course people are going to have opinions. People will have opinions if you decide to move from your club to a local rival's, more than they're going to have opinion about if they should have a Samsung Galaxy whatnot or a Google Pixel this, that and the other. Sol Campbell turning around the lily whites and trying to hide them like Spurs fans trying to turn around themselves and hide their faces when Sol Campbell joined Arsenal. Obviously the lily whites are reference to Spurs' nickname.
Of course you can stay with them for another year, but is anything really going to change? Doesn't look like it to me.
That's funny for Sol Campbell, I've got to say, because he does come across as a boring, bland kind of character, but he's pulled off that little one-liner there quite well. You could stay for another year, but nothing's going to change. I mean, he couldn't be more right, really, could he? I don't care who you are, he's probably right in what he's saying in that statement. There is some truth behind that statement. But I tell you what else is true. You can bet your bottom dollar whoever produced or made that advert or had the idea for that advert, you can guarantee they are an Arsenal fan.
So if you're thinking about transferring this January, I say go for it.
So not only did Sol Campbell leave Spurs to join Arsenal, which is considered one of the most Judas moments in Premier League history, he's gone on to make an advert rubbing his transfer into the faces of the Spurs. Now, don't forget, this was 30 years ago, this transfer, 25, 30 years ago. Yet it holds so much relevance to this day because a move like that is not easily forgotten. So now, he's got the Spurs players sitting on the team bus yesterday. They've just been absolutely had their arses handed to them by Arsenal. Okay, the scoreline probably doesn't suggest that, but if you watch the game, it was a pounding. So they're sitting on the, they've just been battered by Arsenal. They're closer to the relegation zone than they are to the top six, not even the top four, to the top six. And they're probably looking at themselves thinking, yeah, maybe I will make that move. Because Harry Kane, the captain's left Spurs to go and win things. And then Sol Campbell's gone and left Spurs to go on and win things. And they're looking at themselves now thinking, we've never held a trophy. When was the last time Spurs won a trophy? So the Spurs fans, they're sitting on the team bus yesterday. They just want their minds off football. They're sitting there watching YouTube and this advert pops up. They see Sol Campbell say, go for it. They see him go and win trophies. They see Sol Campbell say, go for it. And now they're probably thinking, yeah, stuff it. I'm going to go for it because I've got a better chance of winning trophies somewhere else than I do at Spurs.
It's not like you're doing anything outrageous. You're just switching to something much, much better.
He's just being cheeky now, isn't he? Like, of course it was outrageous. So he's being sarcastic. Like I said, it was probably one of the biggest Judas moments in Premier League history, mate. and then to go on to say to move on to something better. I mean, that's just, you know, like letting to the Spurs fans like this. Like, if they hadn't, like, I mean, they were probably just getting over the whole, like, Sol Campbell issue. I know it happened 30 years ago, but, you know, they might have just only just started now just to get over it, and then wallop, just to remind them an advert like this comes out. And probably at the worst possible time. Not only did they lose to Arsenal yesterday in a North London derby, this is probably one of the worst Spurs teams we've seen in a long time. Losing 11 games out of 21, closer to relegation than they are to the top 6. Worst time to bring out an advert like this.
The Google Pixel. Gemini, what were we just talking about?
We were talking about separating delicate whites from strong colours like red in your wash cycle.
Yeah. That was it.
And the final nail in the coffin, not even Black Mamba herself from Kill Bill can 1-inch punch her way out of this coffin that Sol Campbell has put the Spurs in. They're referencing now the delicate white to Spurs and the strong red to Arsenal. North London is red, especially after yesterday confirming that fact. So everyone's going to love that advert. That advert's for the neutral. You've got to love it. All the innuendos, the references, really well done. Obviously, the Spurs fans ain't going to love it. They're going to be on YouTube praying that advert is skippable in 1 second, let alone 5. Hit up the like button like Sol Campbell has hit up Spurs for a second time in their history with making that advert. Subscribe to Sports Almanac for some more sporting reaction videos.